Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Ngayong araw ay patuloy nating tatalakayin ang fasting o yung pagbubulay-bulay nga sa araw na kung saan ay pag-aaralan natin yung mga katuruan ng salita ng Diyos. So ngayong araw ay ang tatalakayin natin o ang title natin is A Fast for Divine Intervention. So ang talata natin ngayong araw is Nehemiah chapter 1 verses 1 to 11. So ang sabi dito, when I heard these things, I sat down and wept. For some days I mourned and fasted and prayed before God of heaven. So yun yung sabi sa Nehemiah chapter 1 verse 4. So napakahaba ng ng talata na ito. Pero yung sabi dito is, in the opening of verses of Nehemiah, we find a powerful example of a heart moved by a burden and a spirit that turns to God in fasting and prayer. Nehemiah, upon learning about the state of Jerusalem, respond not with panic or despair, but with posture and of humility and dependence on the Almighty. So, ang katuruan natin ngayong araw is fasting is recognizing that God is bigger than our problems. So, Nehemiah's choice to fast was an acknowledgement that challenges before him were beyond human capability. Fasting becomes a tangible expression of our faith, declaring that God is greater than any problem we face. It is a recognition that our strength alone is insufficient and we need the intervention of the divine grace. Next is fasting is asking God's solutions. Nehemiah didn't just mourn the brokenness. He sought divine solutions through fasting. Fasting is not a ritualistic hunger strike, but a seeking of God's guidance and wisdom. In our fast, let us earnestly seek God's perspective on our challenges, trusting that His solution surpasses our own understanding. Last teaching is, fasting is relying on God's character and promises. Nehemiah's prayer is rooted on a deep understanding in God's character and promises. As we fast, let us rely on unchanging nature of our Creator. Fasting is an expression of our confidence in God's faithfulness and affirmation of His promises that never fail. So ngayong araw, ang katuruan natin ay tatlo. Una is admit our sins. So the sins of our families and our nation. So Nehemiah began his prayer with confession. As we fast, let us be humble, admit our own sins, the sins of our families and those of our nation. Confession opens the door for God's mercy and forgiveness to flow into our lives and communities. Next is appeal to God's character and promises. Nehemiah reminded God of His promises and character in our fast. Let us appeal to God's loving kindness, mercy, and faithfulness. Remind Him of His promises and trust that He will honor His word for well-being of His people. Last application is ask God to grant us success with our plans. Nehemiah concluded his prayer by asking for success in his plans. In our fasting, let us present our plans and desires before our God, seeking His favor and guidance. May our requests align with His will, and may He grant us success as we move forward in faith. So, in conclusion, sa ngayong araw, let us fast or let our fast be more than abstaining from food. It is a spiritual posture of dependence on God. May our prayers be fervent, our confession sincere, and our trust unwavering in one who holds the solution to our challenges.